Chapter 1. Hatred is Born. I lived as an ordinary person for most of my life, even though I was living a parallel, increasingly sick other life. Edmund Kemper. Edmund Kemper was born on December 18, 1948. His father was a World War II veteran named Edmund Emil Kemper II, who went by E.E., and his mother was named Clarnell. There was always a tension in the Kemper household, which also included an older and younger sister for Edmund. Clarnell's attitude dominated the home. Although E.E. provided a comfortable life for the family, Clarnell complained about his menial job and his passive personality, persistently. As a child, Kemper craved attention from his parents, but never received much. Clarnell didn't want her son turning out to be submissive the way she saw his father, so she was strict with the young boy. Anytime E.E. was caught showing the boy affection or kindness, he would be chastised for coddling. Kemper spent the formative years of his life feeling isolated. He had low self-esteem and felt unlovable. In school, Kemper performed poorly. He saw teachers as extensions of his mother. He would shy away from adults, expecting the poor treatment he received from his alcoholic mother at home. His peers could tell something was off with Kemper. He was bullied mercilessly for his shyness, poor grades, and astonishing height. He had a hard time developing relationships with others throughout his life, and as a child, this meant he spent most of his time at school without friends. In 1957, when Kemper was 9 years old, his father E.E. left the family house for good. Kemper felt abandoned, left alone with the woman who made his life unbearable. Kemper got along with his sisters when they were younger, but as he aged and the turbulent storm brewing in his brain began to manifest in his behaviors, they quickly drifted apart. Kemper became fascinated with death. His favorite game to play with his sisters was something he called gas chamber, in which he would have one of his sisters throw pellets at him and lock him in a room. He would then act out suffocating to death, writhing back and forth on the floor. His sisters would play this game with him, but when Kemper became obsessed with ripping the heads off their dolls, they began to refuse, distancing themselves from the child their mother berated on a regular basis. At this stage in his life, Kemper was unable to keep his depraved fantasies and obsessions a secret the way he was able to later as an adult. They seeped into his consciousness and had a startling effect on his actions. At 10 years old, Kemper killed his family's cat. He buried the pet alive in their backyard, and when he was sure it had died, dug it back up, removed its head, and examined its body. Several years later, Kemper repeated this ritual with the cat's replacement when he perceived the pet to be favoring his younger sister. He dismembered the second cat and stored pieces of its body in his closet as a reminder of the thrill he had felt while committing the deed. In another incident, when Kemper was around 12 years old, he made a startling confession to his sister. Like many pubescent boys his age, he had developed a crush on one of his teachers. His sister teased him for this, saying he should just kiss her to see what happens. Kemper responded that he couldn't do that. He would have to kill her first. Clarnell Kemper was not unaware of how Edmund's behavior was developing into that of a disturbed person. She had found the rotting remnants of their second family pet in his closet after having smelt the odor of decaying flesh. Her abuse towards Kemper escalated during his early adolescence. She began locking him in the basement at night, forcing him to sleep in the cold, damp space without a bed or blankets. She said she was afraid of him coming and hurting her or her daughters in the night. When Kemper was 15, he reached a breaking point with his mother. He couldn't take the constant verbal abuse any longer, so he left, hitchhiking to his father's home just outside of Los Angeles. He thought it would be a fresh start, but he quickly fell into old patterns. Unbeknownst to Kemper, his father had remarried since leaving Clarnell and now had a stepson. Kemper was outraged. He felt replaced and soon began acting hostile and aggressive towards his father's new family. After 1 month, E.E. sent his son back into the arms of Clarnell. Edmund Kemper was resistant to return to his mother's house, and he wasn't the only one. Clarnell also didn't want to accept her son back into her life. She had been happy when he had run away and told her son she had felt peace for the first time in years while he was away. She refused to take him back in and instead sent him to live with his paternal grandparents. In doing this, Clarnell was hoping to protect herself and her family from Edmund and his startling behaviors. She wanted to prevent a disaster. This decision, however, would prove to facilitate what Clarnell was trying her hardest to avoid.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it. at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.